everyone. Welcome back to TPL. Don't forget, you can follow us on every major platform, streaming platform, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of that at TPL Media. Now, I'm a music head, definitely. And I think we often forget how poppin' the Canadian music scene is. So I have brought to you a lovely Canadian local artist, Falc1. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is so great to have you here. Okay, let's do a little bit of an intro because I mean, I was telling you this before. I don't think you realize how famous you are and how many people actually listen to your music, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, like you said, my name's Falcon. I'm an artist right here in Toronto. And I've been making music for my whole life, but started recording in like 2017, 2018 with a duo. We were called the 108, and then kind of did my own thing starting 2020, and I've been releasing music ever since.
So interesting that you say 2020. That was when the COVID pandemic hit. So what was it like trying to sustain a music career through that?
Yeah, it was a bit different because it was, growing up you hear about like people getting discovered through shows and they're going out, and through COVID it was just like strictly social media and just promoting yourself on social media. And that's when I was like, okay, TikTok is this giant, it's this big thing that everyone's obsessed with. I need to get on there. I need to start promoting myself on TikTok. So that's kind of what I did. And then it wasn't until I started going on TikTok Live, which was probably around 2021, where I actually started developing like a following and people who just across the world were enjoying my music. So yeah, I would say it was definitely like a switch of real life to you got to just go full on social media at that point.
Yeah. And I mean, but social media can be a scary place too, right? There's a lot that comes with it. So how was it like comparing 2021 to now navigating TikTok?
Yeah, it's funny because like different algorithms change and you have to try to like, at 2021, 2020, it was like thirst trappy content. It was this like
the dances.
The dance is very basic stuff, where now it's a little bit more of like personal. It's a little bit more creative, if that makes sense. Like there's more of like a creative side to I think TikTok now, but the difference I think of the algorithm is that so many people pick up on it, right? So your views could be sky high one day and they could drop the next day. So it's a bit of a balance, and just kind of you really have to the downside is you really have to be on your phone. You really have to be like analyzing these things and seeing where trends are going, and for somebody who's makes music and he's not trying to be like but you almost have to be like an influencer-y type of person nowadays. So it has its moments, right, where you go kind of up and down with that, but yeah, I've seen the shift of creativity for sure.
So we'll get into more of the social media stuff in a minute because it's a lot to unpack, especially as an independent artist. But tell me about your genre, your style, and you've kind of evolved a little bit, I feel, over the last few years.
Yeah, I always say like I like to be genreless, because for me it's like whatever inspires me, that's kind of where I'm going. I don't want to be kind of put in a box or like trapped in a box creatively. But like a lot of people know me from rapping and freestyling, but I love to sing. Singing is probably like my number one passion. So I'll do, soft ballads. I'll do, again, rap songs, dance music, upbeat songs. So whatever's kind of in that, the inspiration for that day, that's kind of where I'll make my music. And recently, just with things in my life, I suffered like some loss in my family, some mental health issues. And so I think my music, where I want to be inspired by like true events, because I feel like that's where you get your most expressive content. So I think just with how my life kind of went, it gradually shifted my perspective from like, oh, I'm gonna do love songs because I'm feeling like all lovey-dovey and this, and to now it's kind of hitting some darker and maybe like some harder points, right? So I feel like my music's grown just with life, like how our life grows and our life adapts. I think my music's kind of reflected that.
I think life is definitely like a main factor in the inspiration for music, and especially in your 20s. You know, it is such it's a decade of evolving. You're not the same that you were at 21, 22, 23. Like it all changes so much, and I'm sure you've gone through a lot of that change in your life, and you're kind of looking back on it now, you're probably reflecting on it a lot.
Yeah, like I'm thinking about like my early 20s where like I'm writing music about partying and, you know, just going out and having a good time with your friends and trying to live in the moment. And then now it's kind of like this whole different perspective of you're almost thinking about your future and, you know, the struggles of trying to make a name for yourself in your 20s. That's kind of where my mind has gone and where my lyrics have kind of changed so drastically, where it's like, yeah, my early 20s was, you know, it was about having fun. It was, you know, that's just what you do when you're that age. And then I think now, like we've been talking about, just your perspective changes on life, and you also face different things in your life. Like I remember I've been in a relationship since I was 16. So I was writing breakup songs in my early 20s, but I was like, I know this is something that is like impacts people, but it's not directly impacting me. So I would look at like friends who have gone through breakups and look at them and get inspiration there. And it was almost like I was pulling for inspiration at that point, where now it's like life is this crazy thing where it's like you don't have to pull for anybody else. You got it right from within, right? So
I think it's safe to say the last year has been wild for everyone in some way, shape, or form. And okay, we'll come back to that as well, because I think the mental health thing ties in with that a lot. But tell me about being an independent Canadian artist and what it's like to try and make a name for yourself, like you mentioned.
Yeah, it's definitely fun because, you know, you're doing what you love. It's your passion. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but it's very difficult because nobody tells you like you got to do everything, right? Like for somebody like myself who's totally independent, I'm my videographer, I'm my social media manager, I'm my, you know, marketer. I'm doing all these different like hats where it's not something that I specialize in, right? I specialize in like writing music and performing and all that fun stuff, but it's, if you want to make your name in that regard, you have to kind of master these other skills, or, you know, get enough money where you could hire people to do all those things. But for me right now, it's, you know, I have to wear those hats. So it's just kind of like a day in and day out of like, okay, you know, studying cameras, studying how to edit, you know, like the amount of CapCut tutorials that I've watched of how to edit like videos to try to make them pop, and color grading and all this stuff. That's lighting. Yes.
I've got the portable light in my purse if you ever need it. I'll tell you that.
You're a real one. No, but it's true. Like I've had to buy like portable lighting and all this stuff that, you know, 4 years ago, I didn't know one thing about, and I didn't think I would ever need to know anything about. So I think that's the tough part. But I will say that it's very important to like put things into perspective and like count your wins, because when you're an independent artist, you're gonna get so many no's. Like I have very thick skin. Like somebody could be like, just look at me like, hey, I hate your music. Yeah, you suck, right? And like, it doesn't faze me because I've developed such like thick skin over the years, and it's taken a while, but I've gone to like accept my small wins, where it's like, okay, I'm not where I kind of want to be, let's say, quote unquote, yet. But think about yourself 5 years ago. If you had, you know, people listening to your music in Europe and different continents, and you have to, if you don't do that and you don't say like, wow, no, I'm actually doing something great, you'll go crazy. You'll go crazy, because if you're just waiting on like that big yes to come, and you're just like, you're almost, what's the word? You're kind of just waiting for approval almost like constantly. So you really have to like take a step back and just be proud of yourself and be proud of the journey that you've taken.
That's amazing advice, because, and I think that also comes back to the social media thing, because sometimes the numbers you see can be disheartening, the amount of viewers, or like sometimes a video that you didn't think would pop off pops off. And sometimes you maybe don't get as many like views on your lives or people joining your lives. But speaking of which, your lives have reached people all over the world. Like you're international now.
Yeah.
So how does that feel?
Oh, it's amazing. It's really the coolest thing. Like when you get people who like are coming in like, hey, watching you from London tonight, watching you from Sydney, Australia, and like just all these different places in the world. It's like, wow, this is what I used to like dream of. This is everything that those steps, those editing tutorials, like this is why I did that, just to get my music heard by all these people. And yeah, it's something that you can't really explain. And I think just the next step would be like to actually not have a screen in front, and it's like a face-to-face interaction, like at a show or something like that. That's kind of where my next step and I want to go. But yeah, it's the coolest thing. Like you can't really put it into words how awesome it is to hear. And people like know, like, hey, I just listened to this song that you just dropped, and it's like, and I'm like, oh, where are you from? And it'll be like, oh, I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. And you're like, wow, like
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just wild.
And I have to backtrack a little bit. How do you think you developed that thicker skin? Because it's hard. As much as we want to say, like, I have a thick skin, nothing bothers me, you know, there are things that bother us.
Yeah, I think if you don't develop it, you fail. So I feel like you almost have no choice as an independent artist, like, or just an artist in general, or anybody doing something creative, or, you know, in a space in life, that if you don't have tough skin, I feel like you'll fail, because it's got to be like 0.00% of somebody giving you a yes on your first attempt. You're going to deal with no's. You're going to deal with people who just simply aren't a fan of what you do. And that's fine, because there are so many people who will be a fan of what you do. And you kind of have to realize that with every no, it's closer to a yes. As cliche as that sounds, it really is. I was on my live stream for 6 months straight, and I didn't get nobody joining the lives, didn't get anybody, but I just kept going. And like people being like, why are you doing this for 4 people? Like, yeah, you're really going to make it with 4 people. And you're like, you know, like the trolls in the comments.
What a loser.
Yeah, literally like what a loser. He's rapping to 4 people. Like, get a job.
Yeah, you're sitting at home behind your phone, just staring at your screen. Anyway.
So like you get all those, and it was probably like the 7th month where it was like, oh, now I have 30 people. And now I have 100 people. And then like from 100, it went to like 1,000, and then 2,000. And then I had like one of the top live streams in Canada. And then, see, this is the fun part about being in the music industry, is it's not just going to go to 3,000, 4,000. Then it goes back to 100. And, you know, you have your ups and downs, but it just shows like if you stay with something, and you have to be proud of yourself. So every time I drop a song, every time I go on TikTok live and I present myself, like even in this podcast, I want to look back at it and be proud of myself and be proud of what I'm creating. And I think as long as you're doing that, you develop thick skin, because you develop a lot of confidence in what you're able to do. So when people tell you no, it's like, okay, it wasn't for them. It'll be for somebody else, because I know it's good. I'm proud of what I'm kind of creating. So that's really how it developed. And
well, I love that. I love that for you. I think that's amazing advice. And like I said, social media can be really disheartening, looking at those numbers. And have you ever considered like bringing a team on to help you with that stuff? I mean, you've got your dad now, your dad who's watching, and he's your camera person sometimes. He's your social media person sometimes. But do you think a team might help you, or do you like enjoy doing it on your own?
I would absolutely love a team. It's just finding the right people right now, and finding something that works, like financially, and, you know, those other costs when you are paying for, like, you know, all the stuff yourself, right? Like even like marketing wise, that's on your own budget, because again, you're by yourself. So, I mean, if something were to work, I'm so open to that. So if anybody is looking, there's a little ad.
Yeah, just plug yourself, man. Go ahead.
No, but yeah, no, I think it would help tremendously, because, you know, when you're wearing all those different hats, it's tough to kind of like laser focus on one thing. You kind of have to do a bunch of things at once. And I think just as like humans, if we laser in on one thing, it's usually better than trying to do a million things. Like you can still do it well, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you really put your time and effort into one thing and excelling at one thing, I think it's just gonna be better. So yeah, I would love to do that. I definitely am proud of, you know, learning those tools. I think that it's helped me grow.
For sure.
But I think now I'm at the stage where it's kind of like, I do want to strip that off. Yeah.
I just want to make music now.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's the thing. That's the thing that comes with being an artist. There are so many components that come with it. It's not just about sitting down and writing a song anymore.
Yeah.
There's so much more that goes into it. You have to market yourself. And you mentioned financials, you know, that's always something that's quite difficult for independent artists. You know, you might look like glitz and glam and all of that, but it's not always that way.
Yeah, no, it's tough because, you know, I can't remember what the breakdown is, but like for every Spotify stream, it's like a quarter of a penny, right? Like it's very, very low. So you really have to do numbers on your streams to be able to support yourself financially. And that's why the TikTok lives have been great for me, because that's where I've kind of done well for myself and been able to pursue music full time, is because of TikTok. So I do owe a lot to TikTok and the social media element beside it, because I think now, and this is a good point, but if you're an artist, you have to look at different avenues in order to generate income. Like, even, you know, if you're good at songwriting, try to see if you can pitch out your writing so you can get some money, or just anything that kind of keeps the dream and keeps you afloat. So I think that if I would give any advice to like any artist out there, is just like look at different avenues, and whether it's social media or just promoting yourself in different ways where it's not just streams where you're trying to make an income, because it is so difficult. You really do have to get great numbers to provide for yourself.
And I also think it's very different in Canada versus like the US, because there's no TikTok Creator Fund, for example, here in Canada. So how do you navigate that? How do you monetize that in a way?
Yeah, it's tough. Like it's I always say, like in the States, they just, even with content, because they get so much more outreach than we do here. So it's just easier to go from like point A to point B when you're in the States, because it's just such a bigger volume. Like when I was in LA for a couple months, and I was streaming down there on live, and like my numbers were just so inflated, and I was like, yeah, like I was like, wow, like I can't believe this, right? But it's they just have a bigger outreach. And for us who don't have the creator fund, I would recommend, like, obviously if you grow your content where you could get brand deals and stuff, that's incredible. But if you're not there yet, I would suggest going live, because you can make money in Canada going live. It's not easy. You do have to stay really consistent, and you can't expect to, you know, be making a ton as soon as you start off. But it is an avenue that people can take. And if you do make creative content and things that, you know, stick with people and really move people, then I think you can do well in Canada on that. But it would be nice if you got both, right?
Yeah. And what about getting your music out onto streaming platforms and stuff? How does that work?
So for me, you use like distributors. So there's a couple that I know. Like I use it's called United Masters, and a couple of my friends use DistroKid. Like my producer Chino uses DistroKid. And yeah, you basically just submit your song, the cover art, who wrote the song, make sure like everything's your own original work, and they'll put it on to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. They do all that stuff for you. So it's pretty simple. But yeah, you need one of those to get your music out there. But I will say, if you're using those, make sure you pay a little bit more and you become like a premium artist on their platform, and you keep all your rights, because you do not want to give any, especially when you're in your beginning stages, you don't want to give away any of your rights.
So what happens if that happens? Who takes those rights?
So basically, like they'll do like a split. So if you're not like a premium artist, I don't know the exact splits, but they will take any earnings from that song. So let's say the song were to go viral, they get some of that, whether where you could just pay a little bit more and it's 100% yours. So it makes sense. Just cough up a little bit at the beginning. And if you like believe in your music and you believe it has that virality potential, then, you know, you don't have to give anybody nothing. It's your music. You know, you want everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So
well, that's good to know. That's really good advice. Okay. So now, let's dive into the mental health side of things. So for those who aren't familiar with your music, I've been listening to you for quite some time, but you went from, you know, upbeat dance stuff, and now you're making a little more, I don't want to say dark, but it's another side of you that I feel like your listeners haven't heard before.
Yeah. I just really wanted to, and I debated this for a long time, like writing about mental health. It was something that was foreign to me because I'd never experienced it. Like everything in my life was, just trying to be as positive as I can, always a smile on my face type of guy. But 2025, it was just that roller coaster of social media where it's like, okay, this didn't get the views that I wanted, and this song's not getting the streams that I wanted, but oh, now this one did. And it was like up and down, up and down. It's like, you just start to get like so in your head, and I was getting so in my head, and I wasn't acting like myself, and it just like flooded into my work where I was like, this is what's going on in my life. I need to write about this. And I had written the 2 songs that I had released, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna release it, right? It was in my head again, right? It's like, I don't know if I want the world to kind of see that side of me. But then I was like, what kind of like artist am I if I'm not showing what I'm dealing with in my true self? And it also goes back to the point of, I had previewed the song on my live. It was like super late, and it kind of like died down. So sometimes if it like dies down, I'll show unreleased music because it's a small bunch and it's like kind of intimate. So I show this song, and this person's like, wow, like I've been dealing with a lot of struggles, and this like was amazing. I really needed this. And hearing that, it's like, how do I not release this now? Right? Hearing that it could help somebody else. Because when you're writing it, it's like, this is for me. This is for me to just get it off my chest. But then you realize how many people actually deal with mental health, struggle with it. So I was like, if I could just help one person in this regard, I need to drop this. So I decided to drop those 2 songs, and like some of the like I get emotional just thinking about it because some of the responses I got back were just so beautiful. Like, I was in a really dark place. I needed this. And like, as an artist, I think you want your music to make people feel something. And the fact that it got people through something, it was just really special to me. And I was really proud of that EP.
Well, you absolutely should be proud of it. It is amazing. And I thank you as a fan too for putting that out, for showing that side of yourself, because it's not easy. And especially I feel as a male, it's not easy. So I think it's really opening that up to people to say, listen, everybody's dealing with something. Doesn't matter if you're male or female. It's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to put it all out there if you're struggling.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like you said, the male thing, it's that stigma, but it's still like, you want to be this macho guy, this, you just don't want to show that side of you. So I think, it was important for me to highlight that.
And how was it received by like your close friends and your peers?
Yeah, like for some of them, it caught some by surprise, but to some like of my closer friends who, I've opened up with this past year, it was nice. It was nice for us to kind of be open and have those talks like man to man about these tough subjects, and as a guy, you want like, in your 20s, you want the car, the house, the this, the that,
the
girls, all this stuff, right? You want that kind of, you have kind of like a bucket list of what you want to check off. And when things don't go in that linear line that we were talking about before, I think a lot of like men have kind of that self-doubt. So I know a bunch of my friends have dealt with mental health, and it's, like we said, everyone goes through it. So it was nice to highlight that, and it was nice to just talk to them openly, no BS about it. It was just free talking, and we got to express ourselves and just get it off our chest.
And do you feel like that's a type of conversation that you would have had with your guy friends, like let's say 3-4 years ago?
I don't think so. I don't think we were mature enough at that point to kind of have those conversations about mental health. I think it's something that when you really get put into the real world and like real life scenarios really hit you, you mature and you kind of adapt with that. So 3 years ago, no, but I think there's a time and a place for everything in life. And I think you got to go through things to kind of mature and realize, this is the road I want to take, and this is the person I want to be. And these are kind of the conversations I want to have.
Absolutely. We're growing up. We're getting more mature. We're realizing how important mental health is, and expressing yourself and talking to your peers and realizing that you have people there for you. So tell us about these 2 songs then and what they're about, and then maybe compare them to a song like Saturday Night Fever, for example. Yeah,
sure. So there's 2 songs. So the EP is called Stained Soul, and there's 2 songs on it. The first one's called Losing My Way. And the second one's called Beautiful Life. And Losing My Way is just about me feeling like I lost the joy that I used to have and the happy-go-lucky mentality that I want in life. I feel like, we should never take ourselves too seriously, and we should always try to, wake up with a smile on our face and just give the day our best. I know it's tough, but and I felt like I lost that side of me, and I lost that confidence, where I would say I'm a pretty confident person, like we were talking about before, thick skin, like always tried to be as confident as possible. And I was starting to have self-doubt in my music, which I never had before, or performing. I never had that before. So it was just like losing my way, in the sense of kind of losing this confidence and losing this aspect that I really enjoyed about myself. And then Beautiful Life, again, is kind of about missing this beautiful life, this when things were easy, when things were smooth, when you're in your 20s and your early 20s, and it's just, let's go out this weekend and let's have fun, and let's, there's not those later life pressures. And that's kind of what Beautiful Life is about. And I wrote that one when I was in LA, and I was kind of just alone by myself and in my own thoughts. And, you start to almost spiral, in a sense, when you're just by yourself, different country, different place. And yeah, so then the pre-chorus goes like, LA nights, I'm crying all alone and I've got no guidance. And that I started with the pre-chorus, which I never really do, but I kind of built the song from there. And yeah, so they're both just about kind of missing that older piece of you.
Yeah. And then so compare it to your earlier stuff then, and even other things that you put out earlier last year that were a lot more upbeat.
Yeah. So like a song like Saturday Night Fever, like I love, if I'm at like
I love that song.
It's just like an upbeat, like dance song. I love, if I'm at a party, I'm the guy dancing. Like I'm always moving. Like I always have fun with that. So that's a side of me that I really wanted to show, that that upbeat, fun side of me, which at that point in my life when I was writing that song, it was so prevalent. Like I was going out, I was having fun. And it's funny because those songs are released like a couple months before and after, but when writing them, I was just at two different parts in my life. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say with my music, I'm almost genreless in a sense, because the next release, I don't even know what is really going to inspire me. So I think I just take what life gives me and kind of just release it as it goes. And I think that it's kind of authentic to like a real life experience, because you're not always sad and you're not always happy, and you don't always want an upbeat song. You don't always want a slow song. So I like to do whatever I'm feeling in that moment. And I think that's why a lot of my fans and people who support me, they like that, because I kind of they don't have to switch artists to kind of get both of those sides. But yeah, it just relates to kind of what I'm going through in that time. Like I was feeling fun and happy at that moment, and I just wanted to dance. And I think Saturday Night Fever gives that type of vibe. And then yeah, with the mental health stuff, again, just what you're dealing in that moment.
And I love that I do actually really like the fact that you call yourself genreless, because like I can find a song of yours for any mood, to fit any mood. Yeah. So I love that. And you've always worked very closely with your one producer, Chino. Do you look at like branching out? And you talked about being in LA, and maybe is that a shift you want to make? Obviously you will always rep Toronto. I love the jacket. I should have said that off the top. But do you feel like you could branch out and kind of move past and beyond the Canadian music scene?
Yes and no. I feel like, you never want to limit yourself with like opportunity. If something arises, if there's like this incredible beat and there's like something that grows naturally. But I think part of what makes music so special is when it's authentic and it's real and you have a good time doing it. And me and Chino just really hit it off, and he's so talented. And I always say this, I'm not the best speaker. I might be a great singer and performer, but speaking wise, sometimes to get my point across, it takes me so long.
You did great. You did great.
And but he always, I'll be like, I need and he'll be like, I know what you're saying. And he'll do it. Like we have that relationship where he knows what I'm trying to say. And so we just kind of feed off each other. And even with those mental health songs, it was kind of like, hey, like I'm looking to kind of write this type of song. And he actually sent back some beats that kind of related. And then I wrote the songs to the beat. So he really knows what, I think we've worked with each other for around 5.5 years now. So he knows the point that I'm trying to get across. So I think we'll always have a great relationship and continue to make music. And I think we're very proud to be from Canada, to be from Toronto. And I think as much as other opportunities, if they arise, that's great. But I think you always kind of come back home and you have that special bond, because it really is. We started from nothing to no streams and just working our butts off day and night, trying to give people the best that we thought was the best. And so yeah, I think part of it is also making the music, right? You want to enjoy making the music, and I think that comes through in our music.
Yeah, and I think maybe once you get like too big or whatever the case is, sometimes you kind of lose your passion for it. Like right now, it's very, very passion driven for you.
Yeah, 100%. Like I always say, like if you lock me in a room with Chino and we're just making music for 24 hours, like we'll put out as many songs. It's like we're not going to get sick of it because we're just so passionate about it, and it's just something that it's like it stimulates you, right? Like it gives you this rush. So I think some people, like you said, lose that maybe if they get to that point. I hope I never do. I think music is like such a big part of my life that I think I never will. But I also think that part of what makes my music great is Chino. Like I'm not a producer, so I need that other side of like, you know, the beat is such a big part of it. Like I write the lyrics and I'm performing them, but the beat is so special. So I think we have something really nice where, and he, you know, he's a bit shyer. He likes to be in the background scenes, and I like to be, you know, present. I'm good with being on stage. So our personalities mesh, our likes mesh, and he's also like, he likes dance music, but he loves all type of music. I like rap music, but I like all type of music. So we've been able to be that genreless because we both enjoy so many different forms of music. So yeah, I just think there's such this like compatibility there that where even if I was this big artist, he would be this big producer because he's part of it, right? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that relationship. I love that. And you mentioned a little bit of advice, but what other advice would you have for any up and coming Canadian artists, and maybe some tips and tricks to navigate this industry? Because it's difficult.
I would just say start. I see so many people on my lives who like, they come in and they're like, hey, I want to be an artist too. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, just start writing music, start performing as best as you can, get comfortable, and try to just keep perfecting your craft. Because, you know, me at 16 thought I was the best thing ever, right? Like thought my songs were, you know, and now looking back, it's like, yeah, those were good for a 16-year-old, but you develop so much. So never think that you're too cool for school and you've got it all figured out. Keep writing, start, and realize that there's room to grow, and there's always room to get better. You're never going to be the best of the best of the best. You're going to keep improving each day. So I would say start. And if you can start producing, that means that you can do everything by yourself. If not, you got to get in touch with, you know, a producer or studios or stuff like that. But get in there. It's good to be in a studio because you learn a lot about creating music and just the little nitty gritty that comes with making music that I'm still learning to this day. So I would say start there, and also you got to post. You can't be scared to post. You can't be scared of negative comments. You got to post. And now it's like we were talking about, it's so social media driven that TikTok, Instagram, even Snapchat, wherever you can, post, show your music off, or show, you know, if you want to start off by doing covers, whatever works. Because you never know, especially with TikTok, you never know who is listening, who's watching. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm performing on my live earlier this year, and this one guy goes, I've been a fan of you for so long. I actually am a news anchor now in he's from Kosovo, which is a small country in Europe. And he goes, I'm a news anchor there. I'd love to bring you on and do a segment. So just by this guy seeing me, I was like last month, I was on the news in a small country in Europe that, you know, you never think that these opportunities will rise. But if you don't post and you don't put yourself out there, who knows, right? So it just showed, like, I just wanted to give that example because you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's going to see your stuff. That's why you got to post, and that's why you got to put yourself out there.
I love that. That's great advice. And what's next for you? What's on your vision board for 2026 and beyond?
2026 is just all about continually to grow my name. I really want to do more live performances. I think that's something that I thrive in, is just feeding off crowd energy. And I would love to get to the point where I could kind of tour, maybe do like a small little Canadian tour. And just visit different cities who, you know, I have some good fan bases there and perform. I think that's the coolest thing ever. So that's really what I want to do. And then now I've got some songs coming out soon, a little bit more upbeat, just for, you know, how life has kind of taken me. So excited about that. And I'll actually give you a little exclusive something.
Okay.
I'm working with, so again, for opportunity, people see your stuff. I was on the news in Kosovo, and this artist from there reached out to me and was like, I'd love to do a song with you. So I'm actually working on a song with him, which I think is going to be super cool. He's going to be singing in Albanian and I'll be singing in English. And yeah, it's just another cool experience, and kind of, you know, him kind of getting the North American audience and me getting the European audience and working with each other. So that's something that I'm kind of working on right now. So that should be pretty exciting.
That is so exciting. I'm so excited for you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And all because you went live on TikTok.
Yeah, you really got to put yourself out there, and whatever you're doing, like it could be any field in life, you can't be scared of the rejection, the no's, because at the end of the day, the people who are criticizing you, if they have time to criticize you, they're not where they want to be in life. That's just what I've always thought of. Like,
is this what the kids do?
Yeah. But it's like, if you really have time to take out of your busy schedule to make fun of somebody or try to knock them down for trying, you're not where you want to be in life. So don't let that impact you, and just keep going and keep pursuing your dream or your passion or whatever you want to do.
I love that. Falc1. And also tell us where we can find you online, where we can stream your music, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so Falc1 on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all that. And then it's Falc1 on Instagram, and _Falc1 on TikTok.
I love that. Thank you so much. And don't forget, stream his music at Falc1. And you can follow us as well while you're at it, and stream us on all major platforms at TPL Media. Until next time.
Patriotic means looking out for each other and fixing things together.
True patriotism is being in the country you love, surrounded by people you love, and great weather.
Being a patriot is being a part of your community and caring for it.
It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, patriotism is the one thing we all share.
It's okay to be critical of government and still be a patriot.
It's gratitude to your country.
Of course I'm a patriot. I'm Canadian. It's my home.
Well, actually, true patriot love is the mission.